M. Night Shyamalan is back, everybody, and we are going to glass it up. Let's get started. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hey folks, welcome to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about M. Night Shyamalan's movie, Glass Together. Is that a problem? It's the new M. Night Shyamalan film, which is a sequel to Split, which is in itself a secret sequel to Unbreakable. I know it's confusing, darling, but do try to keep up. And if you enjoy this video review, maybe feel free to leave a comment and like it, and maybe click the subscribe button or something, etc. Where did I go just now? Guys, Glass is out. It's real. It's here. It's the culmination that we've been promised since we saw the twist ending at the end of Split. Spoilers for Split, obviously, if you've not seen Split. But don't worry, I won't be spoiling Glass today. Just Split and Unbreakable. I mean, that cat is out of the bag now, baby. I'm sorry. If you didn't know, you know now. So Mr. Night Shyamalan is tying together Unbreakable and Split and fusing those worlds and giving us the conclusion to that story, in which Samuel L. Jackson's Mr. Glass, Bruce Willis's Overseer, and James McAvoy's 23 other people finally culminate and meet and analyze one another's foibles, and what we get out of it is a pretty good, interesting little thriller that had me hooked. It was not a ginormous blockbuster. It wasn't. And I think a lot of people are going into this expecting that, because it's about superpowered people clashing and such, and we're kind of used to Infinity War and things of that nature. But no, this is not that. This is a psychological thriller, kids. Plain and simple. You're not going in here for explosions and aliens and spaceships. You're going in here for deep conversation and disturbing imagery. Make sure you get your parents' permission. Now, I watched Unbreakable again to prep myself for this, and it was funny because, just a little piece of side trivia here. The last time I watched Unbreakable, which was only once, was when it came out on DVD in, I guess, 2000. We rented it from Blockbuster, R.I.P. My cousin and I, we went to Blockbuster and we rented Unbreakable, and that was the last time I saw it, and that was 19 years ago. Where did that time go? That's the twist I want to know. Where the hell did that time go? And M. Night Shyamalan, despite whatever you want to say about him, he's had some swings and he's had some misses, but he is a very dynamic director. The man knows how to set up some dynamic camera angles, boy. He's a champ when it comes to that. And he's also really good at just sort of making things look very seamless and smooth. His movies are very slow-paced, so the camera's not like... It's a very seamless sort of camera movement, and it's almost soothing, like it almost kind of hypnotizes you. Glass had a lot of moments like that, which I like. I like when Shyamalan does that. It also had a lot of cool moments where it took footage from Unbreakable, from a 19-year-old movie, and inserted it into this movie, sometimes going through the same shot, a modern shot that he filmed last year, swooping the camera down, and then all of a sudden, it's a shot from 19 years ago. That was really impressive. And you can kind of see, the seams. You can see where, okay, the quality starts to dip. Now we're back in Unbreakable. But it's so flawlessly done and well executed. And there was also the use of a deleted scene from Unbreakable in this as a means of a flashback, which was kind of neat, because it almost feels like this was always meant to be, Like in 2000, he was sitting there making Unbreakable, and he's like, man, and 2 decades from now, I'm going to make the threequel to this, and it's going to be dope. So everything worked out well, technically, in terms of how he cobbled this stealth trilogy together. It was well done. However, Glass is, I think, not the kind of movie that I'm going to be writing home about anytime soon. It was not a disappointing movie. It was not a bad movie at all. It was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. But it just sort of fell flat for me when it came time to sort of sum up everything. When it came time for the movie to be like, here's what I have to say, here's why I exist. And, it gave us the climax and it ended. I was like, okay, cool. The impact that it left was, I could already tell, very fleeting. For example, at the moment I'm prepping for my Fanny Awards, which will be going up on this channel very shortly. And I'm going through all the movies of 2018 and, picking my favorites and giving out awards and etc. And there are some movies from very early in 2018, from exactly a year ago, that I remember very well and that I'm very excited to talk about for the Fanny Awards. Glass, which is a January movie itself, I can already tell, come this time next year, come January 2020, Glass is going to be gone. I'm not going to remember most of it at all. Hell, come June of this year, I'm probably not going to remember most of Glass. It just feels like it's an entertaining film that's right there. It doesn't suck. It does not suck. It's just there in front of me, and I'm like, okay, cool. But I can already tell, it's just not going to linger in me. It's not going to be like, oh, wow, Glass. Hey, remember Glass? Man, that was something. And if I had to pinpoint a reason why, I would say it was probably just because of a, not even disappointing, but just sort of humdrum kind of ending. The music and the camera angles and the bombast with which it's presented gives off the impression that the ending is something very magical and profound and powerful. But me watching it there, I'm sitting there and I'm like, cool, but it's not striking me as anywhere near as profound as the movie seems to think it should be. And that's a shame, because I would have liked it to strike me that way. Especially considering that this wraps up a story that was started 20 years ago almost. The factor of we've been telling this story for a long time should give this more of an emotional punch. Like, I know for a fact, when Star Wars Episode 9 is over, if it is in fact the end of that story, I'm going to cry like an infant. There's going to be, they're going to have to come take me away in a stretcher. Because the emotional impact of, like, this story we've been following for God knows, 40 years is finally over. That comes with a certain amount of emotional heft. And even though I wasn't, super invested in the world of Unbreakable and Split before, it was just this cool little thing. Those 20 years, that should sort of mean something. 20 years is nothing to sneeze at, folks. It should mean something. And to me, it didn't. Now, maybe there's somebody out there who's like, Unbreakable is one of their favorite movies of all time. And then when Split came along, they were just over the moon excited because they were getting to visit that world again. In which case, I really, really hope that the ending of Glass reached those people right here the way that Shyamalan wanted it to. I know I'm making it sound so boring. It's not boring. It's not a boring movie either. It's a great thriller with all the stuff you come to expect from these three characters and from this director. Now, having said that, when I say all the stuff you come to expect from this director, there is something that I don't like, that I will come right out and say is bad, is cringeworthy. And this happens a lot with Shyamalan's movies. I don't know if I'm the only one who sees this, but M. Night Shyamalan movies, the characters in them sometimes come across like they are not of this earth. Like they're not human people who've lived on Earth their whole lives. Sometimes they come across like they're aliens from another dimension who are on Earth and they're just sort of experiencing totally humdrum things for the first time and remarking on it as if it's this crazy thing. And I get that sense in a lot of Shyamalan movies, and I can't put my finger on why it is, but there's just this eerie quality to the way people act where, they'll be like, oh, what's this? Oh, it's a car, and a car can take us places very quickly. All I have to do is step on this pedal, and the car will move us faster than our own feet ever could. And like that's just an example, but you could totally see that happening in a Shyamalan movie. People act like everything is something that's never been discovered before, and it's weird and it's off-putting. And it happened in this movie to the point where I almost laughed because of how dumb it was. You all know, if you've seen Unbreakable, that Mr. Glass is obsessed with comic books and the mythology of comic books. And he, without spoiling anything, puts in motion something where the three main characters here, Mr. Glass and Bruce Willis and Kevin, they're all going to converge and confront one another. He sets in motion this confrontation between the three of them. And so other characters are talking, and they're like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? You know, there's all this chaos going on right now. What's the deal? And Mr. Glass's mother tells the other characters in this dead serious, like, this is end of the world type shit kind of voice. She's like, my son told me that in comic books, there are often moments where the hero characters and villain characters converge and fight one another. He said these moments are called the Showdown. And there's this dramatic music, and all the other characters she's talking to are like, ooh, oh, that sounds like a big deal. And I'm like, this is, you know, a child knows this. This is a theme that a child knows. A child knows that good characters and bad characters sometimes meet up and have a showdown. Like, why are you talking like this is the most grave, epic thing that has ever happened? There's even a point where Mr. Glass turns around and he sees three specific people, you know, standing on a doorstep, and he's like, a collection of main characters is here. And again, it's not played for laughs, it's played for like, ooh, yes, the plot is moving forward because the main characters are standing next to one another. And I'm like, Shyamalan, we don't need, you know, the ABCs, like bullet point basics of how comic books work and of how stories work in general. I mean, this isn't baby's first movie script. We know how these work. So it had that Shyamalan presence to it where people are just acting like nobody in the universe has ever heard a story before or seen a movie before, and they're like, ooh, a showdown. That sounds like a big deal, guys. Come on. But having said that, like I said, this is not a bad movie at all. It was an enjoyable thriller. I liked it. I'm probably going to forget about it in 6 months. It's Glass. It's the culmination of Unbreakable and Split, and it's totally fine and good. I enjoyed it. I read a critic's review about it this morning where the critic, I can't remember who it was, but the critic in question said that this was M. Night Shyamalan's biggest disappointment. Have you seen these, sir? Have you seen these? Go watch Glass. It's fun. If you loved Unbreakable and Split, you're probably going to love this. It's just more of what you love. And it's the nice cap to a pretty good trilogy. That's all I can say. It's a pretty good end to a pretty good trilogy. Nothing more or less than that. So that is Glass. That is the final chapter in the saga of Elijah Price, David Dunn, and Kevin Wendell Crumb. And it was pretty good. Thank you so much for tuning in to Thumb Together today. My name is Andrew Fantasia. I'll see you here next time, and until then, adios.